Ready.
When Carol took sick in the middle of May, I thought it was just another routine hospital visit that would be short, and she'd come home refreshed and renewed. But as the valley got darker, it also got deeper, and her situation became to the point where the doctors had asked me if I had a specific funeral home in mind. So, in and out of intensive care twice, pneumonia, pancreatic inflammations, congestive heart failure, and 26 other problems that the doctor cited were problems that she encountered over the last couple months. I resolved that if God was going to take her home, then that's what was going to happen. All that I needed was the strength to go through it. And in and out of convalescent homes, back to hospitals, and then finally God put her in Memorial Hospital, where she started to get better and increased in getting better. She came out of Memorial Hospital and went to Manor Care North for rehab. And in the process of rehab, I was informed that she would not be able to come home unless there was a chairlift in our house. And this is where the story really gets to be a blessing. Because God called me out of the congregation one day to pray in front of the church, and I prayed for the church. God's message that day to the church basically was that He is, I am, He always has been, and He always will be the I am of His people, if they trust Him. After the service, a sister came to me and said that we need to do something, meaning the church needs to do something for Carol, to show her how much she was loved and missed. As the weeks passed and the days passed, God began to bless me with different insights and messages on my heart for different situations. He took me to a situation that in all the years of my being a believer, I have never been before. I stood on a mountain with Him, and I beheld the valley below as people that were sheep in His pasture. And the perspective that He gave me as the shepherd is one that I'll never forget. He began to move people's hearts and to draw money together. I was informed that the chairlift would cost $4,000, and I shopped around and ended up finding one that would cost $2,500. The day the man came to install it, some problems occurred, and he had to go on another emergency. So the owner of the business, because of the inconvenience, did not want to give me the $2,500 used one. He gave me a $4,000 new one at no additional cost. I was informed later on a phone call by the assistant pastor that the church had managed to get $1,000 toward the new chair, and they were applying for a matching fund from another organization. So a chair that cost $2,500 ended up being a chair that now costs $4,000. That's going to cost me $200 out of my pocket, because everything else has been provided by God.
Thank you, Lord.
He is the I am of Israel. He always will be, and nothing will ever change that. I didn't pray for anything that He gave me. I didn't pray for His help with the money, but I knew He'd be there. Money's always been a problem for me. I've always been greedy where money came from. But in this situation, I let go and let God, and knew that He would provide. But He not only provided, He provided the money for the chair, and He provided the money for me to be off work for at least 10 weeks without having to worry about an income. So, to anyone who hears this or sees this, if you don't believe God is the I Am of Israel, it's time that you start.